There are stories that connect us to ourselves and to each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. Now, exclusively on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, your hosts, AJ and Natalie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soul Wanderings. I am AJ, and this is Natalie.
Yes.
And we are here to Soul Wander with you this Wednesday night. Go ahead.
Another fine Wednesday.
Another fine Wednesday.
Yes.
We are hanging out on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. I love this place. It's your number one paranormal and alternative talk network. And we do all kinds of good stuff here on Soul Wanderings. If you want to learn more about myself and Natalie, you can visit soulwanderings.com. But also visit kgradb.com and you'll be able to learn more about us there as well. Also, check out all of the other amazing shows that are hosted on the station. And tonight we are actually hanging out on KGRA DB in the chat room if you want to come and visit us there. Unfortunately, we're not on YouTube tonight, but we're on Facebook. So go over and find us on KGRA Digital Broadcasting's Facebook page. We can chat over there as well. Either place, hang out with us. We love visiting with our wanderers.
Yes.
It's always a good old time.
Give us some comments.
Give us some comments, questions,
Smart remarks. No.
Whatever you choose. I mean, we can handle it. We get all kinds of stuff happening with feedback. Speaking of feedback, we have this new Whisper Wednesdays voicemail set up for you guys to give us some feedback. 801-686-8214. Not just feedback. If you have inspiration, motivation, a share, a recommendation. If you want to be a guest on Soul Wanderings and share your journey story, call us there too. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Call yourself out. Say, I'm available. I have a really fun story that would be amazing.
Yes.
To be able to tell. Come on the radio show and explain all about myself.
It's also a place where if you need a friend, you can just leave a message anonymously. And if you share anything with us that you don't want to be shared, make sure you let us know. We'll totally respect that.
Yes.
And if there is something that you want to share, let us know so we do share.
So we can do the shout out. You whisper it on the voicemail and we shout it out on the air live.
We're slowly collecting some voicemails. This is brand new this year. Since we brought Natalie on, we also brought on the Whisper Wednesdays. I love Whisper Wednesday voicemail idea.
It's right in line with the things that you want to let go of too.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a time of unburdening.
You. Allow us to support you. It's so good.
Oh, it's a live show.
Live show. We cannot delete whatever just happened.
Nope. It's like, okay, that happened. It was off camera, so you don't know.
It's good. It's all good.
Yes.
Oh, it looks like okay. Yeah. You guys, if you're listening live, go over to Facebook right now. It looks like the chat went offline for some reason. It'll come back on momentarily, but if you're not on Facebook, I totally understand why you're not. And and just be patient. I'll let you know when it's back up. There's always some kind of something. And energy. Isn't it a thing?
Energy is a thing. These are interesting times.
Very interesting times. Yeah. And I think we'll talk about that today. There seems to be a common theme going on with similar topics, but we'll get there. I'm going to talk about last week's guest first because he was really cool. We had Les Velez on the show, and he is the co-founder of Opus. And it is a foundation where you can have support if you've had an experience with an anomalous
a life interaction experience, something like that.
Yeah.
It's not just exclusively to like aliens or that kind of thing. That was interesting for me. I love people that are really dedicated to support, like to have a safety net or a place for people to come together and share those shared experience, which is very healing. Very healing to look at or interact with people and say, oh my goodness, you understand. I don't have to explain myself or hold back what's going on inside me. You just kind of get it. There's a lot less words are needed, and you just can be like, oh, and I'm not alone.
Yeah, they have such a big foundation too. They have so many people helping each other, experiencers and non-experiencers alike, for all kinds of contact of whatever that looks like. He also wrote a book called The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact. He was a really great guy. Like good energy, good information. If you guys missed the show, we highly recommend you go and check it out. Also visit the opusnetwork.org. You can also donate to the cause, which is so important.
And he said his book all went to the foundation.
Yeah, that's right. All of the proceeds of his book do good information. If you guys missed the show, we highly recommend you go and check it out.
We're having something happen on live. Look at that energy.
There's some energy going on.
Like, wow, more sage in this room or something.
I'm thinking so.
Like,
I'm thinking so. Something is happening. Yeah. So, but that was a total sign right there. Let's talk about energy and what's going on. So, before the show, I was sharing with Chanel some of the things we were going to talk about, and she was like, there's like every show today has been about blah, 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 this and that, which has been like all of the things that are going on with the world, particularly the US, the propaganda, the sightings, the smoke screens, like the shootings, like all of the things that are going on right now to deter us, right? And that's not exactly what we're wanting to talk about specifically.
Right.
We like to go different route because we like to be more.
We're into that raising your spiritual awareness, and you, when you raise your awareness, you raise the level of awareness of these sorts of things actually happening, that it's a truth. It's what does go on. It's not new. Like propaganda is so not new.
Right.
Humans have done it for millennia. And so when you raise your spiritual awareness, those things come more into your consciousness. And then it can really throw you out of alignment.
Right. So yeah, I was going to say spiritual, but why do I have this thing when I start saying it's more spiritual that I get
anti-woo thing? Be like, oh, it's not all woo-woo.
That is not what I'm looking for right now. That's not what I want right now.
So if we just say human awareness or awareness, what vibrates right? It's like when you raise your awareness, and it can be the very practical awareness of all the different influences that we're exposed to on a regular basis.
Right. Okay. So I'm totally against spiritual woo-woo. I don't know. Every time
you're like, I'm all centered in New Age and everything is fine and everything is good. And then when you watch them walk, you're like, okay, that's not exactly alignment to me.
Right. And then I have people, but you own a spiritual center. Correct. But the work we do there, it's not woo-woo.
They should see the artwork in the area that I work there. It's like, oh, as you've been burned down, then you rise up again. That's the kind of work that we do. Raising people from the ashes as their paradigms and their idea of the world falls apart. Like, okay, we'll help that. That's good. Shed that because it's not needed.
Right.
It's that kind of work.
It's deep inner healing work, definitely. But going back to the energy and what's taking place in the world right now, first of all, it's heavy energetically. It's very dense energy. There's some big shifts happening. This is nothing you guys do not already know.
Right.
We've talked about it. If you're listening to the show, you're aware.
Right.
You already know that there's big things in motion. And we're being told one thing and something different is happening outside of that. And it really is a matter of understanding the differences between light and dark.
Yeah.
And then making a decision on which side you stand with.
Yes. It's serious
How did
business.
you put it? It is serious
You've
business.
You've got to declare your allegiance in some form or fashion. Mostly that's an internal, personal thing. That doesn't mean you have to wear it on your shirts, but it's one of those things. I was telling you when we met yesterday, I was telling you about throughout my life, I feel like I've been prepared. In fact, I was getting ready to come here for the show, and I really run through my life with not a lot. Like I do reference books and things, but I feel like I've onboarded a lot. So throughout my life, I've passed the 50-year mark. So I'm in my 50s, and I feel like over my life, I've gained a level of mastery, and I call it onboarding. So today it was just my mental framework was I've lived all the days of my life to show up and be on the show today. It's that kind of ready to just show up for the world as it's coming to me. All the framework. So before through 2001, I had an experience where I felt like I was being, it was kind of without saying all the details, it was like, I've just felt like I was being trained. It's like, in this particular, it was like going through and having a drill sergeant just drill me. And it was like, you've got to know where you stand. You got to know what side you are. How would you describe yourself? What do you call yourself? It was this sort of drilling into me. And I was actually really intimidated and quite uncertain at that time of my life. But that experience has stuck with me. And I have found that as I've grown and moved through all my experiences in life, it's become very clear what side I work for and where I want to put my energies. I want them to be in the realm of light. I would work for that. And that does not mean an absence of shadow. Because frankly, we can't. It would be like having this earth have only day, and it would fry the earth. We would not be able to have a regenerative space. So I've become greatly aware, especially in my work with grief and death and loss, that that's actually a very healthy aspect of our incarnations, that things do need to die and do need to have those types of things. So throughout this, that long-winded sort of talking is to say that having to know where your allegiance is important to have, and to have it before you get into a place where someone is demanding that you claim it. Right.
Inside. But I also think a lot of people may need that, that pressure point of making a decision, because that's when their truth is shared, right?
It's true. That's where you're like, oh, I'm waffling. Okay, I haven't solidified it. Right.
But when it's like, make a choice. You have to make it right now or else. And you're like, okay, I choose the...
Right.
Because the truth comes out in those moments. Like you're forced in a way to really speak up. And usually the first answer is the answer that resonates with you the most.
Right.
I have always considered myself a middle worker.
You work in the gray?
I work in the gray, but not because I work anyway with the dark. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I work in the gray. Obviously, you brought up the light and the dark, the balance. You must have both. You must have your shadow self. And I feel like I really work well in the middle.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, if someone's like, you need to make a choice, do you choose creator or do you choose whatever that other stuff
Not
is?
creator. Yeah. So it can be also stated that it's like there are teachings that say there's only fear and love.
See, this is where I'm heading with that.
Oh, good. See,
yeah, absolutely.
We're on track.
Well, of course we are. Why do you think that we are friends?
That's right.
We don't always agree, but it really does come down to that, because I feel like if you are on one side, like say we're going to talk light and dark, we'll make it easy. If you're all the way on the dark side, I just feel like those are all lower vibrational
For sure.
feelings, emotions, actions, behaviors, all of those things. And the opposite of those are going to be all the positive things. And the furthest on the spectrum, if you will, fear at the very end of the dark and love at the very top of the light.
Right.
And so it really does come down to a matter of, are you going to live in fear? Are you going to live in love?
Right.
And through my experience with my NDE, that was the biggest message that was shared with me, is that love is the answer. And people think I'm really corny and cheesy when I say, well, what does love say? What does love feel like? What does love do? And they're like, huh? What are you talking about? Well, that's your answer. Like, that's your answer.
Right.
So if you choose to live in fear, you're, in my opinion, and from where I've stood in my experiences, you're always going to be in some sort of chaotic environment, where love definitely brings more peace and clarity.
Agreed.
So what do I choose? I choose love. Always. Right. Always.
Like, even if you're like, how do I love this? You're like, yeah, that's the challenge.
Yeah, even if it is a challenge, it's still the answer.
It is still the answer.
And saying it and being it are two very different things.
Right. I remember one time, these simple, practical ways that this stuff comes out. I remember an interaction that I had with a lady that does energy work and healer. Very good. She's very good at the work that she does. But she would say, I hate. Mm-hmm. And I remember challenging her. I'm like, that's really like, that's a strong word. And it, like when you say it, it's got that vibration of hate, that hate vibration. So she says, she changed it. It was cute, a little rescripting. She's like, it definitely hits my dislike button.
That's funny.
And even those are ways, this isn't about a massive overhaul of your life. It isn't, we just aren't designed to make those sort of vastly cosmic jumps in our life. We're here for expansion, but we're here to, it's a step-by-step process. Mm-hmm. And so we're just talking about, it's baby steps or incrementally shifting what at any given moment. You have this basic choice, that is, you have a choice to feel a little better or a little worse. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about, we're talking about big words, light and dark, but in a given moment when you don't feel good, you can come to this awareness that I can choose to feel just a little better or a little worse. Mm-hmm. So it's, where do you step? Do you continue to throw logs on the fire of what doesn't feel good?
And do you feel that it's always a choice?
Yes.
Like I feel like some people will use it, but that's just how I feel.
Yes.
Do you feel like that they're choosing to feel that way?
Well, the choice.
Go ahead.
It's not always conscious. Mm-hmm. So the reality is it's always a choice, but sometimes it's the default choice that you've chosen not to shift from. Mm-hmm. That's where it comes into doing some of this work, where when we talk about the inner work, mm-hmm. is coming to the awareness that's like, okay, maybe I have a default setting. Mm-hmm. There's this lovely video that that I've watched from time to time. I think it's called What is Water? David, I can't remember his last name, but he did this commencement speech. And it's just profound. They put a great video to it. And in that video, he's talking about your default setting, how routine life is. Life is so routine. Adult life is routine and routine and routine. And, you get up and you go to work and then you do, you got to make money to pay your bills. And then you come home and watch a little TV and then you fall to bed and you do that again. It talks about that part of adult life and how young people don't exactly know how monotonous it is and how you can get into these default settings.
Right.
And whether you have the concept that the world revolves around you, or if there's a big world out there that you're just a part of.
Right.
Which is understanding that it's not separateness, it's the wholeness.
Exactly. Gosh, I just adore you to pieces.
Are you a drop in the ocean or the ocean in the drop? It's the same.
It's the same. It's all Yes, it's all connective. But going back to like being true also to how you really feel, like with the choice, like say you feel crappy one day and it comes down to a choice. Like, do you want to feel crappy? Well, no. Well, then choose not to. And so you choose not to, but there's also still those unresolved feelings and all of that jazz. So it's one thing to make a choice and ignore how you feel.
Correct.
And it's also one thing to make a choice to choose to be in a higher vibration, but also acknowledge that you have some lower vibrational emotions coming up for you.
So in that particular sense, if you just, go
I was just going to say, I can just hear people saying, but I feel like this. So why would I ignore that?
Yeah. And I definitely do not, even in all the work that I do, that's not what I talk about doing either, because I talk about being with what is.
Yes.
So there's a very, very simple answer when you bring yourself fully present. There's a very basic thing. When we are born, the first thing we do is breathe. So the breath is always an aspect of the body, and the body is always in the now. And we might think that this is like out there teachings, but it really isn't. It's like the body is always in the now. But oftentimes when we don't feel good, we're not in the now. The things that make us feel good are most often things that happened in the past.
Right. Or we're thinking too far ahead.
Right. You're trying to jump to the future and you can't you can only respond from the now where your body is. So coming back to the body, the breath is the easiest thing. The simplest thing is like deep breath. That's it.
Right.
It's so simple. It's so simple that it's like most people forget.
Yeah. I have to remind myself to breathe often. If I feel myself getting out of that vibration, I really am like, okay, time out. Let's go do some breathing.
Just do some breathing. Come back to now. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing like just being fully present.
Yes. There is something to be said about being in the moment, being in the present moment.
And that's a light.
Deep breath.
Even if we're talking about light being vibrationally less dense, the breath is not dense. So it's air.
You're so poetic sometimes. I love it. All right. I want you all to know that if you go to kgradb.com and click on the chat option, it is available to you. So all of our wanderers who normally hang out with us on other platforms that you're not able to get on tonight, go visit us on kgradb.com. Get familiar with that chat room. That's where we're hanging out tonight, as well as on Facebook at KGRA Digital Broadcasting. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in just a moment.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small, esoteric getaways are limited and do fill fast. So, go to mysteriousAdventuretours.com and book your trip soon.
Are we alone in the universe? The most important question facing humanity is on the verge of being settled once and for all. The Mutual UFO Network has been at the forefront of this journey for nearly 50 years. Our members worldwide are dedicated to the research, documentation, and awareness that will shape the future of humanity. Won't you join us?
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Hello, Wanderers. Welcome back to Soul Wanderings. I am AJ, and this is Natalie.
Hello.
And we are your hosts of Soul Wanderings. And just to give you a little heads up, we have a guest tonight in the second hour. His name is Dr. Simeon Hein.
Dr. Hein.
And he is going to be so amazing.
I think my brain is just going to
yes,
explode.
Yes. Yes.
Feel it with all this information.
He's also a remote viewer, which
you love.
I love remote viewing stuff. Let's do this. He does a lot of things. His brain is so big and so massive, and I just am really excited to get to know him better and all of the things he has to share in an hour. It'll be
in a very short hour. It'll be fast.
We'll talk about that some more, but just so you know what's to come. But right now we're talking about the light and the dark in the world. There's just a lot of heavy experiences, a lot of chaos, a lot of things happening in the media. And it seems to be a common theme throughout the shows. And people are talking here on the station anyway about how UFOs are coming to light, how they're actually being talked about with the government.
Yes.
They're just trying to distract us from what's really going on.
What? Why now? So all this time they've been happening, but
they're not real. What? They're not real.
Always be
just
suspicious
kidding.
of the
They're real. They're real. Yeah.
The timing is really,
The timing is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It is fascinating how everything does come into the light and the timing of it all. There are no accidents.
No.
There's also a lot of biblical things happening if you follow that type of belief system. Different things going on with our planet. There's also different things going on with other countries. We're not going to get into all of that. You guys know what's going on, or you don't. You can assume. I don't know. There's just so many directions you could go with that. However, we're not going to talk about those details here because that's not what we talk about. That's not what we focus on. That's living in a vibration of fear, which we are, as we spoke of earlier, we're focusing our energy on the opposite spectrum.
Right.
And Natalie has something to say.
I do.
I can feel it.
Like ready. So I'm gonna still talk light and dark, but I'm gonna just take it into a little bit different frame of reference. So if people have been listening and know anything about me, they know I do a lot of work with grief. And those are definitely dark days and dense. Grief is one of the more dense vibrations. But it is also an aspect that is natural and normal. So there's an old saying, probably in the Bible. I don't know. I know these sayings, but I don't always know reference points. But it says, yea, even we walk through the valley in the shadow of death. And shadow is necessary, and there is rebirth that happens. So when there is a lot of dying going on, this planet, as the people that are dying, the numbers are up. It just is, there's more people dying. It means that there's more people grieving. And that's a dense sort of energy. So being with grief it's an aspect. So we don't say, okay, there's just a sudden shift. So I'm saying that's an acknowledgement of a denser energy that's currently going on. Our globe is kind of in an upheaval. It just is really happening. And we can often be pulled to somewhere else but where you are. So there's another simple sort of thing that if it gets too heavy, turn off the feeds and be in your environment. And so earthquakes and people dying is maybe in your environment, or you may be, half a globe away. And so we can't solve someone else's anguish really ever. It's their anguish. They have to go through this. We can put ourselves in a place of beneficial vibration, compassion. That's a lighter energy. And you can do that by being within your own space that isn't chaotic. So we can either invite all the chaos that's elsewhere in the world into our environment, and then there's even more chaos in the world. It's like propagating. We'll propagate the chaos, or we can be in our space, and our space may be peaceful. And it's so helpful to be at peace. It is not a betrayal of people that are going through difficult times to allow yourself to be in peace. I have a good friend of mine that I wasn't available. I didn't have the energy to talk to her one night. And I just knew I couldn't tax myself anymore. And she was reaching out, and she was going through a difficult time. So I did what I could. I'd heard this story that said there was a psychiatrist that started working at this hospital. And he would just, instead of visiting with patients in person, he would sit with their folder, and he would do the Ho'oponopono prayer. So it's just, I'm getting chill bumps as I'm
just got it too.
Story. It's like, so I love,
so powerful.
I love this person deeply, but what I could do was I found a YouTube video that was like 118 repeats of the Ho'oponopono prayer, and I sat with that energy. That just I think I needed it as much as she did, which is like, I love you. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Forgive me. Thank you.
And so it cycled through that, and I let myself just breathe in that energy, and I just sent it to her. And just the most, and it's the story that I've heard reported that he actually, all his patients ended up healing, and they didn't have any more patients because he would sit with their folder, and he would see them in that beautiful light energy, and the healing happened.
There's something to be said about that.
It works.
There's something to be said about that. Have you heard, I was watching some videos. I went down the YouTube rabbit hole this week. I mean, it happens every week, but this week in particular, I get sucked into YouTube in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. I'm like, well, let's go just put something amazing in our brains. And I was watching some videos on multidimensional experiences.
Ew.
And I came across a video that was talking about all of the stuff that's going on in the world today and how we literally can change our reality by just stepping into a different dimension. So those things may be going on in the world, but they won't affect us. And I know there's some truth to that, right? But also the realist in me is like, but the things are happening regardless.
They are.
But how they affect me. Okay, there's a point of being oblivious to what's going on in the world and not being prepared.
Correct.
For the just in case.
Correct.
And then there's a point of being oblivious and in a way that's not necessarily oblivious, but not feeding into that energy. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do.
Because I know there are people who are like, but it's still happening. So if I just pretend it's not happening, the truth is it's still happening. But according to this video, yeah, you're right. But if you're not in that dimension, it's not happening. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So I'm going to bring like the dimensional concept instead of like we go to a different, well, it would be like that. So it's fascinating when you have consciousness teachings and you're putting it in this at work in our practical thing. So what comes up as I've studied the work of David R. Hawkins and his map of consciousness, and it is laid out in a spreadsheet. So the common thing, if you looked it up, the map of consciousness comes in the spreadsheet, and it goes from lower vibration up to higher vibration. And a logarithmic scale, it has numbers as far as like the frequency.
I have it printed.
Yes. So there's this framework. So if you take that line on a spreadsheet and you consider that is a dimension, and then you want to bounce up. So if we're saying we're in anger, we're angry that people are being abused. We're angry that women and children are being violated, or we're angry that there's war, or we're angry, for what we're angry. And so if we shift up that scale, we can shift to neutral, which is above anger. And if we take each of those lines as a dimension, and we're just moving to another dimension of feeling, and it shifts your environment. Now, the reality is the more each one of us as an individual chooses to raise our vibration on purpose, it raises the vibration of the planet incrementally. So that's powerful work. In fact, one of our guests 2 or 3 weeks ago said that. What can we do? And he's like, we keep our vibration higher.
Right.
And so we're shifting that. And so I consider that dimensionality doesn't mean that we go to a completely different place, but in reality you do, because as you shift and you change the way you're looking at the world does change.
It literally
it just does.
Right.
So it's like it's the technology of it that says, okay, and what's the harm in trying?
Right.
Most likely you'll feel better.
Right. It reminds me of a scale that Abraham Hicks has, the emotional guidance scale.
Yes.
And so with that scale, you like pick the emotion you're feeling in that moment. And then you choose a thought or feeling that brings you relief from that current feeling or emotion.
Perfect.
And then you settle into that new feeling.
Yeah.
You just settle into it. And then you just continue to up your vibration. And so like if you're down, I think like one of the lower end of the scale was anger, like you brought up. That I don't think it's the last one, but it's one of them, one of the lower vibrational ones. You literally can like raise your vibration by just sitting in that emotion and deciding what's going to bring you relief from that emotion.
Right.
It'll raise your vibration.
Right.
That's one way to raise your vibration. And so you'll go up a couple of notches. Eventually you end up in the higher vibrations, which is happiness and joy and passion and optimism and
bliss.
Yeah, all of those good things.
Which seems really strange. And it says, okay, so Is it some sort of betrayal if I can be in my bliss and my joy when there's really horrible things going on in the world?
And that's another thing,
It's this
right?
cognitive dissonance that says, but then we go back to the propaganda sort of thing that says, okay, so how can you verify that thing's happening in the world if you can't go outside your house and see it for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because what we absorb online is a perspective. Someone's taken a camera angle,
mm-hmm.
and they've done their perspective, which isn't the whole story.
It's not the whole story. It also, usually a lot of the stuff they're sharing on media is never high vibrational anyways.
No. So if we can be,
I just say turn the TV off.
Right, turn the TV off.
Put your phone away.
Put it away. And then notice and be in your own environment.
Right.
Which is a truth within your personal framework.
Mm-hmm. In mine.
Well, yours or all the rest of the people that are listening.
So there are people that come into the shop on a daily basis. There's so many people who are on the lower end of the vibrational ladder. And we're saying all of these beautiful things, right? But the fact of the matter is, we can tell you how to change your vibration. You get to make a choice to take our advice or even go and find your own way. However, the reality is that people are looking for quick fixes and they want everything to be fixed for them, right? I see it all the time. They want a crystal. What crystal's going to take away my anxiety? What crystal's going to heal my broken heart? What crystal's good for grief? I love crystals. Don't get me wrong. They're my jam.
Lovely.
And I do believe in the energy that they carry. However, the work, you have to do the work. You can't just have this magic pill or this magic crystal or magic whatever to make everything shift for you.
Yes. It's your point of attraction.
Right. So what I'm trying to get at is when you are in that, like I have someone here, what about the hurt in the chat room? What about the hurt?
Oh.
This was from earlier before the break. It's a good question. Things do hurt. Like if the things that are going on in the world are painful, even if we're not directly affected by them, a lot of us are feeling some kind of compassion or remorse or whatever that looks like for the people who are suffering.
Yeah. So if it's a personal hurt or a vicarious, so there's this vicarious. Years ago when I was working for the Air Force, we had this cadre of people that we were peer-to-peer support people. And there's this lovely, wonderful man that was in the group. And he was always like kind of paying attention to the wellness of the group. And he did this presentation to us one time where he talked about vicarious trauma. And when you are around traumatic things or absorbing traumatic things, but it isn't your trauma, you get this vicarious trauma. So we would have these code words and we would say, so VT, vicarious trauma became, we're going to Vermont. So we would have these code words where we would say, look, I think I'm going to Vermont, which would be code to say I'm experiencing like this. I've taken in too much trauma from what I've been around. So it's whether people that are in their trauma and you're trying to help and you're trying to get them to move to a healthier place, or you're absorbing it like we're talking about when the world is having a lot of trauma, then those of us that are not in those events can get this vicarious trauma. But it's still our responsibility to keep ourselves healthy and whole. And that frankly takes everyday work.
Literally.
It's every day. It's whether you're going to clean up your mental space or, and there are people that are drama addicts too. Frankly, I do know this is something I can say. I have become, as a routine, attached or routinely checking on the world events since the pandemic hit. It wasn't as much things, but since that pandemic and tuning in, I find myself every day tuning into it. And I just noticed and like, wow, I just do this every day. Let me check on the world events. It's almost like what's happening out there. It's not happening in my world, but happening out there.
Right. I think it's good to be aware.
Well, I actually
even
prefer
if you're
to
not
be aware.
If you're not choosing to, lack of better words, play into it.
Correct.
It's really beneficial for you to know what's going on.
Right. So don't get me wrong. I am not about, I might come off sometimes as Pollyanna, but I'm definitely not. It's not all rainbows and kittens because there's a lot of crappy stuff that happens.
Yes. I know we're always like, and love is the answer. But honestly, that's not necessarily true in all the cases. Like that's not going to solve everything. It's just a vibrational thing for sure.
I'll say, yes. How do we love that?
Yeah.
Hurt? Oh, so I do want to answer the question about what about the hurt? So if it is your personal hurt, if you've been hurt by someone, I do find that this is going to be my nugget.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, we need to move on to right. Natalie Nugget for the week.
So this is going to be my nugget. I will explain it this way, which is, anyway, I'll just explain it. It'll land. I do hope. But if you are hurt, then that means that you are not connected to what is.
How do you like that, Joe Fox?
Yeah. I'm like, well, they really did this thing.
By the way, I said that in like a very loving way. Joe is a great supporter of the show, and I want to give him a shout out.
It's a great question. Awesome. Really a great question because this haunts a lot of humans.
Yeah.
They just pack up the bag that there's the stone and then there's this other stone and this hurt me and this hurt me. And frankly, and every day you carry this big backpack with you from whatever was before into today, and you nurse those wounds.
Right.
So you're the one that's continuing the hurt because the hurt happened and it's the past is always moving. It's going, well, what about now? What about now? And when we can stand on principle, we can say, but if I don't remember, then that's going to happen again. And it's like, okay, which is frankly a recipe for continued hurt because you're bringing it into your everyday thing.
Right.
Now, that's big work to be able to go through different aspects of forgiveness, forgiving for life happening. I was talking to someone earlier today, and to remain in that I was hurt, which means I was a victim, which means that I am still a victim and I have no power. And I want to give everybody that has no power back their power and their responsibility to do the work. Or, we talk about the work. These are really simple things, though. These tricks, these coping skills work. How do you think we keep our positivity when we're dealing with? How do you think I keep my positivity dealing with people in their wilderness over and over and over again? I just realized that's suffering is optional.
It is. It most definitely is a choice. Just going back to what we were saying before.
Yeah.
And we are around a lot of heavier energies because people come to us in their times of hurt. And it is a unique place that I have found myself personally in doing my own work and acknowledging my own feelings and emotions regarding what people are going through and how that sticks around with me and how important it is for me to do the work so that I'm not carrying all of that with me all of the time.
Right. Yeah. It's like we can let that go. Drop the bags, unpack the bags, let you can even do that like figuratively. It's wonderful to write things down and burn them. The earth is a great recycler. You can, you take your troubles to the river.
Let it go.
Yeah. There's beautiful things that say, when you drop your troubles in the river, there is absolutely zero chance of retrieving them. Well, if the river's going fast enough.
Depends on how fast the river's going. I was going to say, I've dropped some things in the river and caught them still. So.
She's like, I put it in this little pool so I can get it again.
And then I was like, wait, no, I'm not ready to let that go. Snatch it back out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you pick it up again and you're like, okay, that's all right. It's okay to keep your trouble. It's really okay too to keep your troubles. You can keep them if you want.
Choices.
It's choices.
All about the choices. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Well, it is quite interesting how all of that has worked in my life, being aware of where I'm at on that scale. When I find myself in a lower vibration, how I can shift that reality for myself.
Yes.
By having the tools, by knowing the tools, and everyone's different. You learn yourself and learn what works best for you in those moments.
Right.
But that's the good stuff. That's the work we're meant to do, right?
Yes.
That's part of our human experience and the growth that occurs by being in those moments and being aware of how we feel in those moments and how we can shift that and redirect it. Vibe high.
Vibe high.
High.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's so important. So moving on, tonight, our guest will be joining us here in just a few short moments. He is a remote viewer. He also talks about all kinds of things like Bigfoot, cryptids, other secret life forms, all kinds of stuff.
Those cryptids, they just have all kinds of language around cryptids. I don't even know that much about it.
No.
I'm all steeped in the human stuff, and it's like, oh, there's this other world.
We are talking about dimensions, Natalie.
That's right.
Come on.
She's like, get with it. I'm like, that's why I'm here.
When you jump dimensions, do you not see other?
Well, frankly, my vision lately has just been full of all sorts of different. I just noticed there's a lot of energy in the air, and I'm sure that's part of me seeing it.
Do you believe in why do I have a thing? I don't want to say Bigfoot, but that's what
these anomalies?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Do you feel like they're multidimensional beings, or do you feel like
there's all kinds of
they're just from other places that come to visit us?
Well, I mean, that would be another dimension. So I definitely know.
I mean,
that's true. Oh, you're talking about like from other planetary things.
Yes.
So it's all of that.
Yeah.
I think all of these frameworks that we have, there's not one thing that explains all of it. There's lots of explanations,
right,
for the various things that we experience on this plane. Yeah.
I just really am grateful that we talk about it, not just on this show, on all of the great shows that are played here on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. So if you guys want to know more about all of that, check out the lineup that is going on over on the station, because this is what we talk about, all of this good stuff.
Yeah,
we talk to people about all kinds of things, but this is part of it too.
That's right.
With that being said, go over to kgradb.com, take a look around, and we'll be back with you guys in just a short moment.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Are you looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small esoteric getaways are limited and do fill up fast. So, go to mysteriousAdventuretours.com and book your trip soon.
Are we alone in the universe? The most important question facing humanity is on the verge of being settled once and for all. The Mutual UFO Network has been at the forefront of this journey for nearly 50 years. Our members worldwide are dedicated to the research, documentation, and awareness that will shape the future of humanity. Won't you join us?
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul Wanderings. I am AJ, and my lovely co-host Natalie is joining us tonight.
Present.
I'm
present. Here in the now.
I was going to say, are you here in the now?
In the now. How about now?
How about now?
I love the now.
I'm really excited about our now.
Yes.
I have really been looking forward to our guests tonight, talking about all the things that excite me. They interest me. They're fascinating. So we only get a short hour with our guests. We won't even mess around. Let's bring them on right away so that we can have as much time as possible with our guest, who is Dr. Simeon Hein. He's coming out of, let me slow down. I'm too excited. Coming out of academics with a PhD in sociology with an emphasis on statistics and research methods, he found himself wanting more contact with the public. He started his own research and teaching company, the Mount Baldy Institute, in 1996 to give people the opportunity to learn resonant viewing, a type of intuitive training that taps into our unconscious intelligence. He's also the author of several books, with the most recent one being titled Dark Matter Monsters, Cryptids, Ball Lightning, and the Science of Secret Life Forms.
There you go.
Very nice.
Very good. Hello. Welcome to our show, Soul Wanderings.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me here tonight.
Yeah, super excited. I love that you remote view. I just had my first experience with remote viewing, actually with Michelle this past year.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. It blows my mind. I'm so fascinated with it, and you've been doing it for quite some time. So we're really excited to get to know about that and everything else that you're up to. So from your own words, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Well, hey, I'm Simeon.
That's simple.
I'm coming to you from Boulder, Colorado tonight.
Oh, you're super close to us.
Yeah. And where are you guys located?
We're in Ogden, Utah.
Oh, not too far away.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've taught remote viewing classes out in Salt Lake City before. And I've gotten to know a lot of people in the Salt Lake area. And it was a very good group of people that were very open to the idea perhaps because of their Mormon background. They just didn't find it, they didn't have this resistance to some of these ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So I found they're very good remote viewers, and I'm still in touch with them now.
Oh, that's wonderful. I actually ended up realizing today that I watched a video that you had on YouTube. It was some time ago, but you did have someone in Salt Lake do a remote view for you, and it was super, super accurate. And you were just talking.
That's right, Terry. Yeah,
Terry. You were talking to her about her experience.
Yeah, that was just stunning. I mean, can you imagine that you have a picture and you call Natalie? You say, "Hey, I've got a target for you. Are you interested in doing it?" And Natalie says yes, and you give her 8 random numbers, and then you hang up, and then Natalie draws the picture that's in front of you.
Yeah, a detailed
picture, and picture, very close to what it looks like. And you didn't say anything, and that's what RV is like. It's there's these connections. There are these threads between us and the rest of the universe that you can't see, and they're very subtle, but RV proves that they're there. And I think that session you're referring to, AJ, where Terry just had 100% contact with no cues from me, no monitoring. I knew what the target was, but it was just like 2 sentences on the phone, and then an hour later in my fax machine. In those days, we were using fax. I hear it start going click, 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 and out comes the picture that I had on my desk of Area 51, the hangars at Groom Lake with their practice MiGs in front. It was just another RV session that even someone like me who's been involved with it for 25 years just blows your mind.
It does.
And you want to get out on the hilltops and scream. Everyone, stop what you're doing. There's this connection we have to everything else that you should know about, and nobody told you in school. They didn't tell me.
No,
it was, I remember watching it last year, actually, because I was going to seek out all different types of remote viewing experiences on YouTube because I was getting familiar with how it worked and the different types of remote viewing. So you practice resonant viewing. Explain that to us and how that works.
Well, there's not much theory behind the way CRV works, at least not the way I was taught. And I use the system that was designed by New York City artist Ingo Swann, who was a natural psychic growing up in Colorado. Where was it? Durango, that area. He actually lived in the town where Tesla had a setup earlier. And I don't know if that had anything to do with Ingo having the psychic abilities that he had. It wasn't Durango. It was that town where it's one way you go in and you have to go out the same way. Whatever that town is down there. Yeah. And
it was Array. Is that Array?
It's in that general vicinity. It was I believe the first town in the U.S. to have AC lighting because Tesla was there.
Yeah,
and he installed it there. Because when I talked to Ingo once, he said, "Have you ever been to that town where he's from?" And I said, "I've been through it." He goes, "You don't go through it. It stops in the mountains. You have to turn around the other way." And I never forgot that. So Ingo grew up there, and he was a natural psychic. And we used the system he designed for SRI in Palo Alto for the U.S. government under a contract from the CIA to create a system that would allow the intelligence agencies to have a cadre of psychic spies. And it's called controlled remote viewing, coordinate remote viewing. I just never thought the remote viewing label is very accurate. And Ingo admitted he invented that word to sound cool. They were getting money from, a bureaucracy. You have to make it he said you had to make it kind of sound sexy to get funding.
There's marketing.
And remote viewing. When I started teaching it here in Boulder, there was a lawyer downstairs who said, "Simeon, I want to take you out for lunch, find out more what you do." So we sat down for lunch. I sat down with Barry, and he goes, "So remote viewing, that's some sort of satellite perception system, right?" It sounds like that, doesn't it? Like some remote technology for seeing far away. And when he found out what it was, he was no longer interested in me or what I did anymore. I mean, it's intuition training, but it's a type of resonance. It's a type of resonance that allows us to connect with things that are not perceptible by our physical senses. And so I think it's more a type of resonance, and a type of resonance with dark matter, dark energy. Even in Star Trek recently, they've talked about the mycelial network that Paul Stamets talked about, the mushroom enthusiast expert. And they had a Paul Stamets on this most recent version of Star Trek. I think it was Discovery or whatever. And it's still going. I think they had a 4th season or a 3rd season. And they have this transport system that uses this hypothetical fungal network that goes throughout the universe. But it looks an awful lot like what we think of dark energy, looking like, which is this sort of web and network of matter that we can't see, but science tells us has to permeate the universe if our galaxies are to stay together. Otherwise, everything would be flying apart right now if it weren't for dark energy. And everything I've seen suggests that this is a real substance. It just doesn't interact with us directly. It's a little hard to detect, but it has gravitational effects. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we resonate with dark matter or some aspect of it. Neutrinos from the cosmic background radiation called relic neutrinos that we know come onto the Earth and are gravitationally lensed. Something like that we're interacting with all the time, that has fluxes and threads. And when you look into this area, it is beyond fascinating. There's so much research, mostly in other countries, not so much here in the US. There are some, but especially from former Soviet Union, Russia, plenty of research into dark matter, alternative states of matter, magnetic monopoles that Paul Dirac speculated had to exist in the 1920s and have been recently discovered. So it really feels like when you're involved with RV, whether you want to call it remote viewing or like I call it resonant viewing, you really feel like you're at the cutting edge of something that's very important, but very few people know about.
It really is fascinating to me how it is. There are very few people who know about it. You think that this would be something
forever? I mean, well, I used to watch Coast to Coast, so I remember getting exposed to remote viewing 20 years ago.
Yeah, but it's not something that people. That was like all the undercover tools that they would use, like in the CIA and.
They did, yeah,
stuff like that. So it wasn't like in the mainstream. We weren't made aware of.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. We weren't made aware because it was a classified program, AJ. No, it was true. It was used for espionage, exactly. and not just for that. All the alphabet soup agencies. We're told by the people that worked in this program that all the alphabet soup agencies in DC would come to the remote viewing program, which was also housed at Fort Meade. At Defense Intelligence Agency headquarters, and that they would ask these viewers to do targets for them. And the people that were in that program have told me that these agencies came back to them again and again and again for more information. All of those intelligence agencies, there's, I don't know, like 20 of them now or something, different types of agencies that have their own intelligence gathering. And so if it didn't work like critics told us, why would those agencies come back again and again?
It's a good question.
Smoke screen.
Yeah.
But you went into it just pretty much as a skeptic, if that's my understanding. Like you thought you would try it out, and much to your surprise, it was something that was of interest and proven to you that it actually is a thing.
Exactly. I wasn't like a nasty skeptic. I wasn't like a scoffer or a debunker. It was just, I think from all the years I spent in school, from kindergarten to PhD, 27 continuous years, I think school did a good job of getting rid of some ideas in my head about the way things work, because you're just 27 years of having to document and write papers and show references. I didn't study any of these topics at all in any portion of my education. Even afterwards, when I was teaching statistics, I came across this idea in 96, and my mind thought, I just don't believe that this is real. It was its reaction. I mean, it wasn't like, that's my personality. It's just like, I thought, come on, the average person could see something hidden in a folder, go there, wherever it is in space-time, and describe it. It just seemed more like science fiction. Mm-hmm. So I thought I should take a course. And this is either the biggest discovery in science history, one of the biggest discoveries, if it's real, or it's a hoax. So either way, I'll learn something. Mm-hmm. And as I've mentioned before, I did have a UFO sighting with my mom in the Everglades, Florida, in the 70s when I was very young, preteen. And that did sort of open my mind to the possibility that there were other things, but it wasn't anything I ever pursued. Mm-hmm. It was just a sighting, and it was pretty close, and I thought it was the moon until my mom looked at it with binoculars, and I put my binoculars up, and it was definitely not the moon. The moon was over there on the horizon, and this thing was right above us, and then it went from stationary to moving in a few seconds when we had our binocs on it. Mm-hmm. And that showed me, wow, that was, what was that? It didn't fit anything I had ever been taught. And yet there was no one really talking about it anywhere, even growing up in the Hudson Valley in New York, where you had the Hudson Valley Triangle during the 80s, that thousands and thousands of people saw from the parkways over a 10-year period. And yet you didn't have anyone talking about it until recently, later, decades later. So,
yeah.
So I was open that these things were real. I just hadn't pursued it professionally until I took RV, and it showed me, wow, that is amazing. I mean, you're just drawing and you're writing. You've taken the class, AJ, with Michelle. And so you surprise yourself. And it showed me there's really something going on. This is really astounding.
Right. When I took it, I thought this will be neat. It'll be interesting to learn. But when things started coming up and they were accurate, I was like, what is this? What is happening? There's something to this. And why aren't we all taking advantage of this ability? I mean, honestly, it's just incredible how it works. I can't explain it. I don't understand it, but it does. And it blows my mind. Did you start going into your other research areas that you do, like your crop circles and cryptids and Bigfoot, through remote viewing? Or was that something you had other experiences from that led you down that road? Like, how does that come up in your
it's a good question. It's a good question. It came up through RV, because once you start doing RV, you end up being exposed to other topics that you may have never heard about. I had never heard of crop circles in 1996 at all, but they came up in discussion. We RV'd some of them for fun. And naturally, you want to get your feedback about what you had just been viewing. Yeah. And so the best way is to go over there and see it for yourself, which is how I ended up going to England in the UK on a crop circle tour. That's how that started. RV exposed me to channeling. I had never heard about the idea of channeling, but the first time I heard that, I thought, well, is this person acting? But after about 20 minutes,
that way at first.
It feels that way. Are they because you again, think of an academic, someone out of academia, you just don't, you've never been told about this, and you would have thought this is just some sort of fakery. But after you see a channel go on like that for 15 or 20 minutes, you realize nobody could speak that quickly without having a script. I mean, it just keeps going. You've heard channel, you can go on for an hour and you realize it. And then they change back to their human personality. That you have to consider that was really something different. And it's a cumulative effect. This is all a cumulative effect, because we've all been brought up in Western society, which teaches us that these things are not real. that they're paranormal. It's some other reality. And having been around these topics now for 25 years and gone to many, many conferences and done a lot of research, it's pretty clear that there's a much bigger reality around us that we don't officially really look at. I mean, it's not like it's studied in universities very much. Hidden events, experiences people are having with these types of phenomena, including ghosts and haunted sites and cryptids and more recently, Bigfoot. Bigfoot came out of my RV classes in Boulder, where students would tell me about their Bigfoot encounters just off the cuff during lunch when we went out to lunch between trainings. And it accumulated. I didn't hear much about it in Salt Lake City when I was teaching there in the late 90s, but I heard about it later from those people as I got to know them better, because these aren't the types of things that people share very much. But in an RV group, you feel a little more comfortable. I mean, you feel like maybe these people are as crazy as me, so I don't feel as inhibited over lunch saying, hey, I had this Bigfoot encounter, and this began to accumulate. And so then, just like RV and UFOs and crop circles, I said, well, I need to know a little more about this. I mean, maybe there's something really going on here. And the more I dug into the Bigfoot topic, I was shocked to find out that the sightings were just a couple miles from where I am right now talking to you in local city parks at the edge of the foothills. And of course, the people didn't talk about it for 10 years. They reported it 10 years later to the Bigfoot reporting sites online, because people are afraid of stigma, being ridiculed, laughed at. It can affect their career. So what I began to see is there's just a lot of phenomena around, and our educational system, I believe, is just far too limiting.
Absolutely.
Far too limiting. I think there's scientific evidence for everything we've just been talking about. A lot of it.
I don't know how there could not be, because the evidence is tangible. When you've had your experiences with Bigfoot, what has been your what's your viewpoint on Bigfoot? Like how all the things people have an opinion on where Bigfoot comes from, where that energy originates from. What from your experience, what do you feel?
Based on everything I've been able to read, listen to, and witnesses I've talked to, I feel that this is not a primate. It's not Gigantopithecus. It's not a rare ape or anything at all like that. It's much more like a human being with paranormal abilities. They can disappear in front of people's eyes in a flash of light, or just with nothing, they're gone. They can affect your electronics, your cameras, batteries. They can cause a sense of time loss. You could be looking at one and then 20 minutes have gone by and you don't know what happened, or you all of a sudden you're back in your car and you don't know how you got there. So looking at it from the biggest point of view, you'd have to conclude that they're a natural inhabitant of the planet that has natural abilities that we have somehow suppressed in ourselves, whether it's from genetics or our culture. And that the reason they seem supernatural is they're literally supernatural. They're natural, but they have super abilities because those abilities are natural. If you follow my logic, their ability to move at rapid speeds, to have extraordinary strength, to project their thoughts into your mind and disappear when they want to disappear, seem to me like the way nature really works. We're the ones that have created this box around us that we call reality. But it's actually a very watered down version of reality. What we call reality is a very thinned out version of the way it really works. It works much more like the stars and the sun and things that are extraordinarily powerful. And for some reason, we've created this sense of identity we have as being humans as being very kind of limited. So I see Bigfoot as the natural creatures with natural abilities that are kind of super. And
Why did they? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we're kind of artificially limited.
I believe that.
You know, it's fascinating because we have the superheroes, and so we put them in this sort of fantasy world,
right?
As if they're not. Although when you're talking about it, I think about all these Marvel superheroes that are doing all the things that you say the Bigfoot does.
Yeah,
but we leave them in this fantasy world, saying, "Oh, it's just created. It's just this creation out of someone's imagination versus potential."
Right. I think that makes a lot of sense. And because we've never questioned that, we call them superheroes. We go to see them in movie theaters, and we just assume this is science fiction, right? It's fantasy, it's comic books. Mm-hmm. Well, let's say that's the real reality. And what we've been taught is this kind of flatland version of reality, Pleasantville, like that movie, where it's all black and white. Yeah, we've all grown up in Pleasantville. And we didn't realize it. And that's my view of it now, because nobody told us about remote viewing and no one told us about UFOs. They did everything they could to tell us it was a weather balloon, which some of them actually seem to be balloons now.
Yeah.
But not for 70 years. They did everything they could to get us not to think about it and to use carrot and sticks to keep us in this corral-like mentality. And it turns out, and we're even seeing this over the past couple days, whatever you think these objects were that NORAD shot down over Canada and Lake Huron, it's bringing up this issue is why don't we know anything about this? And what is going on? And why are they covering up balloons that they shot down? Some of them seem like they were balloons. Why is that so sensitive? Are there other things going on up there that we're not being told about? And if they talked about this more, we'd be asking the hard questions. I mean, this is really significant. And it starts with me with RV. I ended up going to the crop circles, and that was a mind blower as well, because here I'm going into them and I had heard stories about it. And again, I'm going in with an open mind. Maybe it's urban folklore. People are just wanting to experience things there. But no, my cameras and batteries were affected by those crop circles. I saw it happen to other people's cameras and batteries, either temporarily damaged or melted on the inside after being in a crop circle. I mean, having to go back to the factory to get resoldered. And that doesn't happen when you go to the beach or the zoo or a mountain vacation. Your cameras don't melt, but they're melting in swirled patterns, fractal swirled patterns. I studied fractals in my PhD dissertation. That's what my dissertation was about. Fractal geometry, objects that are literally between dimensions, but for mathematicians, it just means between dimensions, like between 2 and 3 dimensions, between 1 and 2 dimensions. It's sort of innocuous. But when you think about experiencing real life forms and energy between dimensions, you realize that fractals are really out there and they're walking around. And some of them are tall and hairy and can really howl because it's like it left the textbook and now it's out there in front of you. As I've talked to a lot of witnesses, staring at you with glowing eyes. And we don't know how to deal with this. So one of the biggest shocks in my life was seeing the same patterns in crop circles around Bigfoot. I couldn't believe it when I started talking to witnesses in Colorado, how their cameras and batteries would go on the fritz, like I had seen in crop circles around Bigfoot. If it was just a mammal and just a rare mammal, it would not be affecting your cameras and batteries and causing time loss. That never happens when you go to the zoo. This is not your ordinary mammal. This is something really different, like a crop circle walking around. How could it have anything to do with swirled patterns in wheat unless it's all based on some sort of fractally organized dark matter energy system that's capable of this non-local interaction? People get these premonitions before they encounter Bigfoot. You read these stories and you talk to people and they say, I had this feeling before I left that I shouldn't go on that hike, but I didn't listen. How would they know beforehand that they were going to encounter this unless there's some network of communication, just like RV? So for me, all these topics are related. I'm not saying they're exactly the same thing, but the fact that you get balls of light and orbs around crop circles and Bigfoot, orbs of light around some animal you're seeing in the forest, it can't be an ordinary animal if there's balls of light being seen around it in such large amounts. So to me, just looking at all these phenomena over 25 years, I mean, this whole thing is like a mind-blowing adventure. That there's a connection from Bigfoot to crop circles to UFOs back to RV, and then going back to fractals, which I did study in graduate school. Objects that are branching, not resolvable to lines. It all makes sense. Is we weren't taught the way reality really works. We were taught some textbook flatland version of reality. And we're finding out over the past couple of days, just look at the news headlines and the reactions of the American people to shooting down 3 unidentified objects, even if there were drones. Just that shock of realizing we're not in control of the airspace. And once these objects go into our airspace, there's like panic. Like even a weather balloon or a spy balloon coming from China, whatever it was, that we don't know what to do with this. It's like you and I would know what to do. We'd get our slingshot out, we'd take it down, or whatever we do with it. We go for a ride in. But the authorities don't know what to do. And it's going over there for a week and everyone's looking at going by. And that shock factor is just the most incredible thing coming from balloons. Don't you think it shows us that there's something really big going on here? And that balloons are to the tip of the proverbial iceberg.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because we were talking about that in the first hour of our show. The smoke screens that are occurring right now to distract us from what's really going on.
And the cognitive dissonance that it causes when people's framework falls apart with these things.
Yes, but it falls apart for some people who've never wanted to talk about what we're talking about here. But for those of us who've been involved with this, this is a necessary adjustment to bring society back to reality.
Correct. We're like cheering it on.
Right? Yes. It depends which side of the coin you're on. If you're on this side of the coin of this type of show with interest in these topics, and you've experienced the type of hostility that we've experienced to these topics when you attempt to bring it up in a formal official setting, the type of reaction you get from people. You're saying, well, I'm kind of waiting for the chickens coming home to roost because it's how reality works. I mean, you can't ignore reality forever. It sort of catches up, and it's catching up right now. It's catching up, and it's going to catch up in a big way. And all of these topics we've just mentioned have something to do with it. They all have something to do with it. You can't deny reality forever. A sociologist like myself would call it hidden events. And we know as sociologists that hidden events eventually go mainstream one way or another. It's the nature of social evolution is things don't stay hidden forever. Eventually people want to know. And it seems to be our history that we always start looking at the things that we've been pushing away. And I think these phenomena, it's like their time has come. Their time has come.
So what do you feel? Do you feel like these anomalies are staying hidden from us, if you will? Or is it us that are hiding from them?
That's a good question. I think it's a little bit of both. It's pretty clear that our minds have a lot of defense mechanisms. There's a lot of things we all deal with every day as modern people. And on top of the things we deal with in our personal lives, we have all this news and connection to everything happening around the world. So it's a lot for your little brain to deal with, which wasn't evolved for modern news, internet coming in 24/7, by the way.
Right.
But that's part of it, is we have these defense mechanisms that we don't almost want to know about something that's going to make us really change too much. But I think these phenomena also, either they know we're like that and we could shatter pretty easily, or they don't want to have much to do with us, like the Bigfoot. For the most part, they just don't find us worth interacting with except to throw stones at your metal roof, or to have a little fun with you like they do out when they encounter people. They can really have a smirk. They can really, you can really, the witnesses I've talked to, and some of them are friends, have said when you encounter the Sasquatch, you feel like a mouse in a cage. Like they're always one step ahead. They're that smart, super smart, like street smarts, like wood street smarts, like really know us really well, better than we know them. And you feel like you're just outclassed all the way around. And you read these encounters, even from hunters who are armed, is this feeling of terror goes through you. Like you're all of a sudden the rat in the cage. And they're always one step ahead. You often get this. So on one hand, I think some of these beings like the Sasquatch and the other cryptids, which are even less friendly, the Sasquatch can develop healthy relationships with people, it seems, gifting and so forth. And people like to have them around. So, some people like to have them around. It kind of, it's a special relationship that they don't have to tell anyone else about. They're out there in their neighborhood somewhere. Sometimes it's more hostile than that too. It's a whole range of experiences, just like with people. But there's other cryptids that definitely don't seem as touchy-feely, even remotely like a forest furry giant. We all know about what some of these are called and so forth. That's that realm. They just see us either as not worth dealing with, inferior, maybe an artificial life form. We have all this technology, heaters, But then there's the ETs. And they may feel like we're not ready for more contact yet. And even if they're having contact with us, like you might know people that have felt they've had these experiences at night, been taken aboard ships, the abduction experience. That is so traumatic to many people that no matter what the ETs would do to try to contact us, you would be flipping out because you're not ready for them to come through the wall and to do whatever they do. And some people enjoy it and it's fun, but other people have a terrifying experience. Right. So I think a lot of it comes down to us is, are we ready to experience other life forms beyond what we were taught is the usual distinction, which is that we're at the top of the food chain and everything else is animal, lower than us. And if it's hair covered, it must be lower and animal, primitive. Bigfoot throws that whole mental classification system upside down because they're hyper intelligent. They can talk, they can even speak English, a kind of a basic English, but they're very they have a lot of abilities. I mean, they can project themselves into your mind. People experience them talking through the walls, and your brain is going to go into like this shutdown mode. So I think it's rather complex. And I think it starts with conversations like this because witnesses, I know witnesses. These people need to feel comfortable to come forward and not that they're going to be laughed at.
Exactly. Do you mentioned that the Sasquatch really doesn't want much to do with us. Do you feel like it's a vibrational thing? Like they're at a higher vibration than we are and they just don't mess around with those lower energies?
Well, they do share the vibration we have sometimes. I mean, they're pretty effective hunters. And as you know, I mean, they can go out and catch pretty much any animals they want in the forest. They're really ruthless hunters. And they have that aspect. But at another level, just like you're saying, AJ, they seem to be able to shift frequencies. And people have seen this right in front of them. They just literally disappear in front of your vehicle. Like that movie Predator, which took place in, was it Central America or wherever, there's a couple of versions of that movie. I saw one recently, the most recent incarnation from about 10 years ago, where it's just sort of like a shimmering sort of mass that people have seen that many times. And they've seen it turn from a Bigfoot into a predator-like shimmering translucent image, or vice versa. The translucent image becomes a Bigfoot. And so they do seem to have this ability to go into other realities or even in our own reality to cloak, both cloaking and going into another frequency. You could imagine like a musical instrument, like we're at one note and they are more like multiple notes. And as you know, if you change the notes too much, they won't interact with each other anymore. If they're perfectly an octave or something, you might get harmonics, perfect fifths, and so forth. But other notes won't really interact with each other. And so they could switch frequencies. We wouldn't really perceive them. And maybe they want to do that because we're just not that interesting to them, or they're doing other things. There are people, if you look online, that have developed relationships with them, that have gotten to know them by name. It's pretty rare, as far as I know. And so the encounters we have with them tend to be almost like rolling a dice. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, they can be extraordinarily helpful and rescue people in dangerous situations, as happened many times in national parks, and they can pull your car back onto the road in accidents. I mean, people have described this, lifting up vehicles and things.
Wow.
And they can be extraordinarily hostile if they feel like you're coming into their territory, if they feel threatened, and they can intimidate you out of the forest by just following you. They're always there for a whole day as you're trying to get back. They're just there, gliding above the forest floor. People don't even know how they do this. That's why I'm convinced they're using other states of matter, the way they appear to glide and float. It's not like they're walking. They don't bob up and down like we do when we walk. They're just, people have been picked up by them in sleeping bags say there was no up and down movement while they were being carried. It's just like quiet and like more like a jet. So it's definitely other states of matter that they're accessing. So from that point of view, AJ, just to go back to your question, they seem more advanced than we are. We think we're the top of the heap, really. Look, with our modern technology, it's incredible. Just in our lifetimes, how much things have changed. We can have this type of interaction right now. It's amazing. And yet they don't need homes. They don't need clothing. They don't need cars or planes. And they seem just fine.
Right.
So that seems to me in some ways more advanced than we are, that they can generate almost everything they need just from thin air.
Just from being.
Here's to those days where we can advance to that.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be amazing? So talk to us about ball lightning. What is that?
It's one of the most fascinating things I've ever encountered. I've seen it twice around crop circles. And I didn't know very much about it back then. But having looked at the cryptid Bigfoot phenomena and seen all these orbs and balls of light around cryptids, and then at places like Skinwalker Ranch in your state, over in Uinta County,
to
the east of you. You guys ever been out there or gone to India? Yeah, so there's places like that, and it's not just Skinwalker Ranch. There is a place called Marley Woods in Missouri, and Elbert County here in Colorado. I've been in touch with people recently who've been out there at that ranch. It's the same phenomena. You get weird space-time slips, cryptids showing up, UFOs, all manner of strange phenomena that suggests that there's more types of matter than we were taught. And what ball lightning seems to be is a fifth state of matter that we call coherent matter. Unlike what we see around us, where all the particles are different frequencies and temperatures and doing their own thing to create different colors and textures, and what we experience is usual reality, you can have particles lose their identity and compress and sort of overlap so that they sort of become one big particle. And when they do that, they can interact with oxygen and so forth and glow, not from heat, from coherency. It's almost like they're a perfectly tuned musical instrument and the waves keep reinforcing each other. That's what ball lightning is in a nutshell. It's a type of compressed matter. And
I've never heard of ball lightning before.
Yeah, well, people have seen it. It's been studied for hundreds of years. If you do a search online, just quickly, you'll see people have been writing about this, especially in Europe, since the 1800s. And it goes back farther than that. And people see it come down chimneys sometimes, go down the aisles of airplanes. You just look it up, you'll see people experience this here and there. It's seen around thunderstorms, but it's not just from high electrical activity from lightning. It's any sort of pressurized environment like earthquakes. tectonic plates moving together. When you get that type of compression, the matter can change states into another state beyond plasmas, which we see in fluorescent bulbs and aurora borealis, and out there in space, glowing gases and things like that. That's a kind of a charged gas. But the beyond plasmas is sort of self-organized plasmas, where it sort of catalyzes a reaction, and it comes together, and there's so much binding energy from the compression that it overcomes the usual physical principles we're used to, which keeps matter sort of apart. It overcomes this sort of barrier we feel just when we put our hands together. And the particles, when they get into a smaller and smaller space, have to give up some of their individuality and their different frequencies, and they all sort of align, just like birds and fish in a flock. That's ball lightning with electrons or other types of particles, like a murmuration.
It's one incarnate. That's what you can see when everything becomes one versus separation.
Yeah, it's a type of coherency that we don't often experience. But when it's like that, it can do the most amazing things. It can even become invisible and you won't see it. It's called a black ball lightning, and it's very long lasting in that dark mode. And this is what they've described out at Skinwalker Ranch. They talk about these really dark shapes that appeared on the path, and they almost were, you couldn't get to it. It was like there was a barrier because it's emitting a whole different type of energy. And you probably shouldn't get too close to it. They can emit types of harmful radiation temporarily. They're really unpredictable. Ball lightning is really unpredictable. I have corresponded with witnesses in the course of writing Dark Matter Monsters. I mean, one witness in Pennsylvania blew up right in front of him and knocked him over. When it comes apart, it can come back to the normal matter we're in, and it absorbs energy and pulls heat out of the environment. So it's going to get really cold around ball lightning sometimes. But that's what people say happens around Bigfoot. It got suddenly cold. UFOs. I've spoken to people. They had to put a jacket on in July in Florida. So that's when you start seeing these similarities, and you realize it's not as complex maybe as we thought. All these phenomena may have some underlying set of principles. For me, it's a type of coherency. It's a different type of matter that gives up lots of variation in temperature and frequency to get this quantum coherency. And even here in Boulder, they discovered this in 1995. It was called the Bose-Einstein condensate at minus temperatures. I mean, like 2 degrees Kelvin, like just above absolute zero. The materials they're using, it just becomes one big overlapping quantum wave, one big particle. And Einstein and Bose predicted this in 1925. But the most amazing discovery is you don't need absolute zero temperatures to create coherent matter. And Skinwalker Ranch and the other portal areas where you get this strange activity, to me, shows that it can exist naturally. Again, just like we were saying at the beginning of the show, it can exist naturally on Earth. But we've been so far away from this that it seems supernatural or paranormal. It's actually normal. We're the ones that are sort of subnormal in this. That's what Ingo said to me.
I believe that. I believe that.
Subnormal, because this is how nature really works. Look at the sun. The sun is a type of compressed matter too. This is just like, so here's the big take-home message from all this. That ball lightning seems to be the same principles seem to create neutron stars, black holes. And yet we can have it here. You could see it bouncing down the street in your neighborhood on a certain night or something. It's the same thing that makes black holes do what they do. Neutron stars, which is a highly compressed type of matter. Even cold fusion, LENR, as it's now called, low energy nuclear reaction, which right in your state at the University of Utah, Fleischmann and Pons in 1989 said they had discovered this, which most researchers say cold fusion is just miniature ball lightning, miniature compressed matter that catalyzes a reaction, generates a lot of energy. Fleischmann and Pons were pilloried for having that press conference in 1989, and they eventually, their contract wasn't renewed. They had to leave. But many labs have reproduced what Fleischmann and Pons did. It may not literally be cold fusion of neutrons. I mean, it's a little more complex. It's more like what we're saying here. It's a type of coherency. It doesn't necessarily have to involve neutrons, but they did get real results in people that have attempted to duplicate it. But look what they encountered.
Mm-hmm. Such resistance.
Just hostility, beyond belief hostility from the whole establishment. I mean, MIT, even President Bush at the time, the younger Bush, had a special commission on this. And they came to the completely wrong conclusion. They said it was junk science.
Mm-hmm.
And yet here you have all these labs, Department of Energy, buying up some of these cold fusion companies with our tax dollars. And yet,
fascinating, isn't it?
All cold fusion, but yet they're it's a whole nother topic we can cover another time. There's a whole paper trail of all the companies they've bought up that do this. Same thing, Fleischmann and Pons. Thousands and thousands of man hours, thousands of successful cold fusion experiments, just like Fleischmann and Pons, or maybe variations of it. You know, it all goes back to Nikola Tesla. It's the same sort of stuff. It's almost like, to sum this up, this is actually very natural interactions that nature created a long time ago in the sun and the stars and everything we see out there. And it's here on Earth too. When we see it here, we call it paranormal. When we look out there, we go, oh, it's just the universe. I think it's all the same thing, and that's what
That makes sense. Yeah,
it's as above, so below. It's
Exactly.
the same principles. We somehow just went off on this linear mechanistic track that it seems weird, but it isn't. It's how nature works. We just are catching up.
Well, in some ways, it's the, if you want to say, the power structure that we have on this planet, where there is the ability for just a small amount of people to say something, and then that carries so much more weight. It's really fascinating how we have this sort of mind control mechanism that's hard to peel apart, but it is quite effective.
It's quite effective. And Natalie, we're participants in it too.
Yeah.
Don't you think we've become in many ways very passive? I mean, we sit around, we watch TV. We're less passive than we were before, because now we have internet and YouTube channels and shows like this, right?
Yes.
Where we can start engaging. But we've participated in this dumbing down.
Oh, yes. Yes.
They held the carrots in front of us. You do want to be successful, don't you? I mean,
this show is really entertaining, and we want to be entertained. And so we're just like, okay, let me go in the entertaining, and interwoven and all that is different programming that kind of gets in there. It's happened.
Play the game.
Sure.
Fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Don't rock the boat. I don't know why that became the dominant motif, but there is no way that can continue if these phenomena keep coming from the skies, the so-called UAP. Okay, you want to call them UAP, whatever you want to call them. To me, they're UFOs. And when those things start showing up and you realize you're not in control of the airspace, even from a Chinese balloon, you're not in control of the airspace, it shatters that whole paradigm that if you just play the game, you'll be okay. Just do what we say and you'll get your reward. But the cost of that is we got out of touch with reality. And that's why the Bigfoot scoff at us and smirk when they see people. They just figure we're sellouts.
Well, in
some ways, they think we're sellouts.
Well, it could be. I think that this recent event with the shooting it down is on the tail of this last 3 years that has been quite an experience for every person on this planet. And then that power structure starts to shake and be pretty shaky because it's got a lot of, it's a house of cards, and eventually house of cards do crumble because they just can't support their own weight. And I don't know that this, we've had UAP phenomenon before, but this is on the tail of all these other things that are starting to come out, and the exposure of how the truth just wasn't being, the suppression and the Twitter files and all these different things that are happening right now. It's like a perfect storm in many ways to really pull the layer back. It is exciting. I'm so excited. I'm happy that I chose to be born here.
Yeah, it's really amazing, guys, because every day you wake up, you don't know what's going to happen today that's going to rock the boat of our paradigm. And I don't think it's ever been like that where news, the Pony Express took 2 weeks to get across the U.S.
Right.
We still wouldn't have heard about the Chinese balloon during the times of the Pony Express.
Exactly.
And look how it's like instant now. We've all have these devices, and it's going to create like shock waves, like a sonic boom.
Mm-hmm.
When the vehicle's going faster than the speed of sound, it creates this boom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're hearing, the kind of advanced waves of the sonic boom. This isn't quite the sonic boom yet, but I mean, it's an acceleration of reality that ever since Roswell, it seemed like we were hell-bent on keeping people from talking about, just say it's Venus or flocks of birds or weather balloons, just do anything. So that and there may have been reasons during the Cold War. I can understand that, people to panic, that,
So the same reasons now, though, because we as humans are actually pretty fragile. Like the bulk of humanity is pretty fragile. They just, you shake their paradigm too much, and they're like, it's just they can have these psychic breaks in some ways.
It's happened before, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's happened before. We used to think the Earth was the center of everything, and there was nothing beyond the moon that moved.
There was a whole lot of resistance for that one, too, in the power structure.
Until the 1800, about 1800, the meteorites were thought to be peasant folklore. They were not considered to be extraterrestrial.
Well, so, it's interesting while you were talking about these cryptids and all that, I just was reminded of all the myths, the mythological creatures that have been in our storyline for, eons. We've had these mythological creatures, and these cryptids could be along those lines. But those are stories, a fantasy again, but they may have represented reality all along.
Isn't that something else?
Yeah, that is interesting. I feel like they're putting it out there always so that the shock factor isn't as shocking.
Or it's available because people will tell the truth. Oh, we were talking earlier about how can you tell the truth, but not so out loud that it can stay within the mainstream framework? How do people tell the truth, but it may be somewhat encoded so that it can stay? And maybe these stories were ways of doing that. And we still had ways of doing that. People still found their way to put the truth forward, even in very oppressive times, to tell the truth. We still find ways to get the truth available if people were willing to look.
Right.
Yeah. I started Dark Matter Monsters. In the beginning, I say my mom used to read me that Richard Sendak book, Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And I never would have imagined that it was real.
It's the wild things.
Before we do wrap, I do want to make sure everyone knows about your most recent book. We just have a few minutes. Share with us about the book and what it entails.
Was the first one. I still stand behind every word in here. I just know more about things than I did 20 years ago about dark matter and cosmological factors that I didn't understand at the time I wrote this. I just realized it was quantum. Yeah. If you want to get signed copies of this, you just go to my blog, New Crystal Mind. And there's a link to get these books. Also, my book about encountering UFO witnesses, one after the other, people who worked at NASA, JPL, and the government, and all those things they told me about how it's been covered up. And it's a fascinating story, guys. All I can say is, just like you're saying, Natalie, this is an amazing time to be around.
Yeah.
Because we're actually seeing right in front of us right now. I'm really serious about this. We're seeing the paradigm change. Yeah, you can go to my website and all the links are from there. We're seeing the paradigm change right now because there's too many sensor systems out there to not look at what these objects are. From the small, there's a lot of small ones, it seems, and they're in the oceans, up to the very big.
Right.
And we've been just pretending it's delusions and ice crystals and the good old weather balloon story. I mean, one of the witnesses in Black Swan Ghost, I have to say, this was a jockey for the Queen, Peter Leather. And when he saw something one night at 1 a.m. with a friend in Surrey, UK, when he got this call from some organization which wouldn't identify itself the next day, and they wanted to hear the whole story, what he had seen. Something had landed and a being had gotten out and started walking towards him and his friend, a humanoid. And they said, Mr. Leather, what you saw was a weather balloon. And he said, I did not see a weather balloon. And he flipped. So that they've been using this story. I mean, we're not that dumb, guys. And we're not that dumb anymore that we're going to put up with this. We want to know what sort of universe we live in. If we're adults, I think we have a right to have a discussion about this. And I say the discussion starts right tonight, right now.
Right.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
An adult discussion of these phenomena.
It's true.
Not
These
what you saw was a
conversations need to
bear.
be happening
You
more.
saw a bear.
Right.
That's what every Bigfoot witness is told the same thing by law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bear.
Yeah.
It was a bear.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course. Isn't that
bipedal
crazy
bear.
how that works? So to all of you who haven't been able to watch the show live on video, make sure you go head over to mountbaldy.com. That way you'll be able to access all of the links to all of the works that Simeon has put out to the world. Take advantage of all of that goodness. Thank you for showing up with us tonight.
Well, thanks.
It's been a pleasure to meet you and
this is really
learn
fun.
a little bit about you. I wish we could keep you on longer. I wish we didn't have to go.
Well, we can do this another time. There's just so much more to talk about.
There is.
So many witnesses. I feel so privileged to having somehow got involved in all these areas and meeting so many great people that just wanted to share their stories.
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems like there are a lot of people that want to share their stories. It's going to form a critical mess, but we'll do it another time. And thanks for having open minds.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate it. And we hope to visit with you more soon.
Okay. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Simeon.
Bye.
Is your mind blown?
Mind blown.
Like, it validates a lot. And my mind is blown all at the same time.
Right. Love
I wish
it.
we had more time to discuss, but
right.
Time's up, guys. Thank you for being here with us, soul wandering this beautiful evening. Until next week, be good to yourself and be good to each other. We'll see you then.
Have a good one.